For our 30 Days project, we got Japan. Some statistics about the country of Japan is that they have a population of about 126,700,000 people. There are various ethnic groups, but the main one is Japanese, of course, at 98.5%, and the remainder 1.5% of the population being Koreans, Chinese, and other ethnic groups from around the world. They have a declining population growth rate of 0.19%. The birth rate is 7.8 births per 1,000 people, and the death rate is 9.6 deaths per 1,000 people. The average life expectancy in Japan is 85 years. Lastly, 93.5% of the population lives in urban areas. This graph shows the population age structure of men and women by the age range that the population falls into. Japan is located on the Pacific Ocean and on the eastern side of China, Korea, and Russia. It is considered an archipelago containing more than 6,000 islands. The four main islands that contain 97% of the Japanese population are Hokkaido, Kyushu, Shikoku, and Honshu. Most of you already know, but the capital of Japan is Tokyo. The country contains more than 200 volcanoes, which are located along the Ring of Fire. Several tectonic plates and an abundance of volcanic eruptions occur along the Ring of Fire, causing Japan to experience more than 1,500 earthquakes annually. Japan is 80% forests or mountains, making it hard for people to grow crops. The national currency for Japan is called the yen. Converting $1 into yens gives you 110 yens. The monetary system is split into different values, and there are coins and bills, just like the U.S. monetary system. It is very easy and convenient to use. There is a 1 yen, 5 yen, 10 yen, 100 yen, and a 500 yen. Those are all coins that have the value of the coin written in kanji on one side and the euros printed on the other side. As for bills, there is a sen-en, go-sen-en, and an ichimen-en, which carry the value of 1,000 yen, 5,000 yen, and 10,000 yen. The bills have a face of a famous Japanese figure on the front and the value written in kanji and numerically on the back. The Japanese language is the 9th most spoken language in the world. It is unique because it does not directly relate to any other language. It is a language that is not tonal, therefore making pronunciation a lot easier to master. The men and women have different vocabulary, and there is no distinction between singular and plural, and no indication of gender. Most Japanese words end in vowels, which determines the structure and rhythm of the language. And lastly, all syllables carry equal stress. Japan has 4 distinct writing systems, which are kanji, which is based on the Chinese writing system and consists of about 2,000 signs. Hiragana is syllabic and the most original Japanese writing system. Katakana is used to write foreign words, and Romaji is the romanization of Japanese words. The Japanese sentence structure places verbs at the end of a sentence. These are the 4 distinct writing systems the Japanese use, and these are what some signs look like. As you can tell, the 4 are quite different. The Japanese history starts with the Jomon culture, which was the prehistoric culture characterized by handmade pottery with rope pattern design. This was the transition between Paleolithic and Neolithic ways of life. During this time, people were gatherers, fishers, and hunters. Next was the Yayoi culture. This was a more advanced agricultural society using metals and wheel-turned pottery. The rice culture was imported into Japan along with other agriculture. Social classes evolved and parts of the country began to unite. Next is the Tomb period, which contains the Kofun period and the Asuka period. The Kofun period was when the country was united as Yamato Japan in 400 AD and the land expanded. Asuka period was where Chinese ideas influenced Buddhism, writing system, bureaucratic organization, and legal theories into Japan. In 552 CE, the Buddhism was introduced. The Taika reform was when a new government and administrative system was established after the Chinese model. All land was bought by the state and redistributed equally among the farmers in a large land reform in order to introduce the new tax system that was also adopted from China. The Nara period was next. During this period, there was an establishment of first permanent capital at Nara, and this was the beginning of classical period. The Heian period was the great flowering of classical Japanese culture and new capital of Kyoto. This was where court aristocracy, especially women, produced great body of literature, such as poetry, diaries. The Hamakura period was the beginning of military rule, as samurai replaced nobles as real rulers of Japan. In 1333 to 1336, there was the Kemmu Restoration. Next was the Ashikaga period. This was when new warrior government in Kyoto retained weak control of the country. Next was unification in 1568 and 1598. After that, there was the Tokugawa period. This was the final period of traditional Japan. It was a time of internal peace, political stability, and economic growth. Next was the Meiji Restoration. This was the emergence into modern international world, marked by dramatic alterations in institutions, traditional social organization, and culture. Following was the Taisho period. This was a period in Japan corresponding to the reign of the Taisho Emperor Yoshihito, and there was an economic depression at the end of the period causing suffering. The Showa period was when World War II was ended in 1945, and it is noted principally for the rise of militarism in Japan. Post-war decades were marked by the spectacular recovery and its rise as a global economic powerhouse. Lastly is the Heisei period, or modern-day Japan. This was a prolonged economic slowdown and crisis in the financial world, and the country experienced multiple natural disasters. And then the country hosted events that lifted the spirits of Japan, such as the 1998 Winter Olympics, 2000 World Cup, and the wedding of Crown Prince Naruhito and Princess Masako in 1993.
I would like to introduce Reno. She moved here from Japan. How long ago was it?
3 months.
3 months. And so we're just going to do a little about your history. First, I want to talk about your language, like the history of your language, and what your language entails.
Japanese has 3 characters, and then the oldest character is Chinese character. So the foundation of letters comes from China, and the Japanese people transform the Chinese characters into the original Japanese characters.
The Japanese are a hierarchy. They are very conscious of age and status. In every aspect of someone's life, they have a distinct place in the hierarchy. At school, children address students older than them as the senpai and those younger than them as the kohai. The oldest person in the group is always honored, for example, served first. The feudal Japan social hierarchy is made up of 3 classes. The first class is the royal class, which is made up of the emperor or the king, the royal family, and the royal priests. The noble class is made up of the shoguns, the daimyo, and the samurai. The third class is made up of, is the lower class, and it's made up of the peasants or farmers, the artisans, the merchants, the ainu, the ida, the hainen, and the prostitutes. For dress and attire, the Japanese wear kimono, which is the national costume of Japan. It is a straight robe that falls to the feet and wraps around the body from left side to the right side. There's an obi that's a wide belt that's tied around the kimono. It's made from various different fabrics such as silk, cotton, and tan, and it is sewn by hand. The hakama looks like a half apron. It is worn by samurai in ancient Japan and worn by men and women in a variety of martial arts, tea ceremonies, weddings, and funerals. It is usually worn over a kimono. The samyu is a casual traditional clothing worn by monks for labor work. It is usually made from cotton or linen. The yukata means bathing clothes. It can be a casual summer dress. It is made out of cotton and usually are made of bright patterns and floral prints. The tomsode is a formal costume worn by a married woman. It is similar to a kimono, but it has shorter sleeves. The happy is a traditional coat made of cotton, and it shows the family crest. The obi is a sash worn by men and women. It is worn to secure different types of kimonos and enhance the shape for the body. The zori is a flat sandal made of rice straw, wood, and cloth. For dating and marriage, the Japanese, the most basic way of starting to date someone in Japan is giving them a kokuhaku, which means love confession, but it's not saying that you love them. It's conveying to someone that you like them and are asking them out. It is not uncommon for women to ask men out in Japan. Marriages were arranged in the past, but that has changed. No marriage means no children, which is causing a decline in the population. The saving face is crucial in the Japanese society. They believe that turning down someone's request causes embarrassment and loss of face to others. Face is a mark of personal dignity and means having high status with one's peers. Do not openly criticize, insult, or put anyone on the spot to avoid losing face. The saving face can be lost, taken away, or earned through praise and thanks.
Next, I want to talk about like what is normal in your culture. To like what does a normal day look like for maybe a college student or a worker, or what's a week look like?
Okay. In weekdays, students study, and also workers work in the weekdays. Weekdays means Monday to Friday, but we are day off weekend, Saturday and Sunday. But Japanese people are so hard worker, overworking, so some Japanese people have to work even Saturday or Sunday. Yeah.
For nonverbal communication, they rely on facial expression, tone of voice, and posture to express the way someone feels. Often trust nonverbal message more than spoken words. They frown whilst talking to someone represents disagreement, and most maintain impassive expression when speaking. It is considered disrespectful to stare into another person's eyes. For cultural norms, bowing is a tradition form of greeting. It's a sign of respect, and the speed and degree depends on who you're greeting. You should remove your shoes before entering a home in Japan, and tipping is not necessary. Slurping is a sign that you are enjoying your food, and conversation at the table is generally subdued. Sterilized masks are worn in public to avoid the spread of infections. For religion, there's two major religions, Shinto and Buddhism. Most citizens consider themselves both, but religion does not play a big role in the everyday lives of Japanese people. For Shinto, there is no founder, no official sacred scripture, no fixed creeds. The word comes from Chinese Shin-to, meaning way of the spirits. For Buddhism, Buddha sat under the Bo tree for 49 days and was tempted by demons. During that time, he discovered Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path to Nirvana, or ultimate bliss. There are Four Noble Truths. Existence is suffering. The cause of suffering is craving and attachment, and suffering ceases at some point and turns to nirvana. There is a path to nirvana. They believe in reincarnation and believe in karma. For holidays, there is Shagutsu and Setsuban. Shagetsu is the largest of Japanese festivals. They eat soba noodles at midnight. At dawn, the Emperor of Japan prays for the nation. December 30th to January 3rd is when it takes place, and it takes place at the palace in Tokyo. Setsuban is an old tradition where people throw beans to drive away evil spirits. It takes place February 3rd or 4th, and at major temples and the shrines of Japan. You also have Hamanin and Obon. Hamanin is an ancient tradition. It means flower viewing, and that's what people do. It's between March and May, and it is nationwide. Obon is not officially a national holiday, but is one of the largest Japanese festivals in the summer. It is a celebration of ancestor spirits that come home. They visit shrines, temples, and family graves. It is based on the lunar calendar July 15th and August 15th, and another on the 15th of the 7th lunar months. It is celebrated all around Japan.
So what does marriage look like then? Is it arranged marriages? Does the man pick out the woman? Do the parents have to approve? Talk about like marriages and families and stuff like that.
Okay. 15 minutes ago, around 15 minutes ago, arranged marriage is common in Japan, but nowadays young people don't do arranged marriage. We get married the person who like, and yeah, mostly man pick up girl, but nowadays it's balanced. Yeah, and yeah.
Japan have a major religion, or do you guys practice certain traditions? Do you guys go to church? So what does that look like for you guys?
Most of Japanese people don't believe religion, but Japanese people do religious things, depends on events. For example, some young people do wedding ceremony in church or chapel, but on New Year's Day we go to shrine and pray and worship.
In summary, Japan differs greatly from the United States. In demographics, the average life expectancy is 85, which is about 5 years longer than in the United States. The population growth rate decreases at a rate of 0.2% annually in Japan compared to the increasing growth rate of the United States at 0.77%. Looking at geography, nearly all of Japan's population is found in 4 main islands, and the terrain is mainly mountains and forests. The currency in Japan differs from the United States in the use of the yen, which has 110 yen per 1 US dollar. The coins are valued at 1, 5, 10, 100, and 500 yen, while bills contain values of 1,000, 5,000, and 10,000 yen. Japan is also the 9th most spoken language, finding itself 6 spots behind English, which is sitting at 3rd most spoken language. There is also no direct relationship between Japanese and other languages. The written language of Japanese has 4 distinct systems, which is unique compared to English, which has 1 system. The cultural norms of Japan are much more formal than American culture. One example of this is bowing to greet one another. All in all, Japan differs greatly from America as a culture, and it was interesting to see how these comparisons could be made.
The last question I have is kind of hard because you've only been for so little time here, but what has been your favorite thing about America, and what has been your least favorite thing about America?
The least favorite America is food, because American food contains a lot of sugars, fats, high calories. On the other hand, Japanese food is so healthy because we often eat rice, fish, and vegetables. Yeah, I like sushi very much. I miss food, and I like American events because we can get free T-shirts and free food.
Yeah.
We can enjoy. Anybody can join events. So I like the American events.